Can you, Josh, tell me about the challenge of your church's old phone system before trying Talk in Church?
Our biggest issue was just availability. If somebody wasn't physically in the office, or we'd have to run across our church building to get to a phone. So you got to run 20,000 feet across the church building to get to a phone. You miss a lot of calls. I'm a pastor's kid, so I grew up, my dad going to the office every day and checking the answering machine and returning calls and things like that. And but we don't do anything like that anymore. And so it just kind of felt with our own phone system, having to check voicemails and see who needed a call back, or trying to hear them repeat their phone number and get the right number to call back. It was pretty difficult. Most of the time, church people having your phone number is not an issue, but you don't always know. You run into those anomalies sometimes where it's like, oh Lord, who has my number, and what time of night are they going to call me? Do I need my phone on Do Not Disturb so I can sleep at night? Just different things like that. And then directing people, so they know who they specifically needed to talk to about a specific thing. With the Talk in Church, we have the digital receptionist, and so that definitely is a huge improvement on getting people directed where they need to. Most of our staff works full-time jobs, so they're not here during, I guess, typical business hours. And so if someone calls with a question or something for them, most of the time we were going to have to take a message anyways and get it to them, but they weren't getting it directly to them. They're basically here when they're here serving.
When you heard about Talk in Church, what about it caught your attention?
The big thing for me, I think, was the digital receptionist. Just the fact that sometimes people just need basic information, as well as, if they had a question about kids ministry, or they wanted to talk to the youth pastors about their teens, we could direct them without passing out people's, personal phone numbers. We could get them linked up with our Talk in Church and have the call forwarded to their direct phone without giving their direct phone numbers away to people. For me, it was also big because we could set up business hours. If they called after a certain time, it would go ahead and send them to that voicemail, but then that voicemail would be sent to that person's email so that they could follow up when time was appropriate. And so that eliminated some of those 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning phone calls that you get sometimes when people have your personal phone numbers. The biggest aha moment that I had was realizing that sometimes people call with a specific need, and having that digital receptionist that would kind of go through the list of items, and on that list of items, it was, if you have a prayer need, you can leave us a voicemail with your prayer need here. You can tell us what it is, and somebody will call you back, or somebody will, send you a text message confirming that we're praying for you, and give us the opportunity to do follow-up at that point. Because sometimes you could be busy. You're in the middle of something. Sometimes I'm doing counseling with people, or maybe I'm unclogging a toilet. I could be doing any number of things around the church, and someone calls with a need, and I'm not always readily available to stop what I'm doing and answer the phone, but they could leave us that message. They knew it was specifically to a prayer line, and then I could call that person back. And we've just seen a huge influx of those phone calls, and it's given us the ability to do follow up with people and call them back when the time's appropriate, when we're, in the right posture for prayer. And that's definitely been a big thing for us, so that we can give people the attention that their need deserves.
Now that, Talk in Church is in the picture, it's implemented, what does life look like for you guys?
Wherever I'm at, if I'm in a different part of the church, or if I'm, out making a visit or taking my kids somewhere, I'm not missing calls a lot of times that I used to miss because I wasn't physically sitting in my office, and I'm able to be more available for people.
All right, so last question. If you were chatting with a friend who was considering Talk in Church, but just hadn't yet made the leap or pulled the trigger, what would you say to them?
I would say, what are you waiting for? Why haven't you done it yet? It's a game changer for most churches. We have church management software. We don't replace our church management software with Text in Church or Talk in Church, because that's not what it's for. I believe that it's designed, and we use it as such a way that we can just communicate with our people, whether it's a first-time guest that we're following up with, somebody who showed up to an outreach event that we did and we want to send them a personal invite to our church, or whether we're just staying connected to our own church people. Text in Church has been a big improvement for us, but with the addition of Talk in Church, it's just added another layer of that personal connection with people. It's made us more available, but also not taken away our time. I know sometimes other systems, they're just designed where if you forward a phone call from one phone to your phone, then anytime somebody calls that phone, it comes to you day or night. And so I do like that Talk in Church does have the ability to set specific hours that, after a certain time, it doesn't take away from our personal time with our family. If I'm having dinner with my wife and my kids, or I'm at a ball game watching a kid from our youth group play soccer or something, I can be engaged with their family at that time, and I can follow up with people later. I think it definitely is just kind of an added layer of protection for me and our staff families, but also connection, I guess, for the church people and others in the community that are just reaching out to a local church for prayer.